following are the words of Lou Civello, president of the Suffolk County Police Benevolent Association.
Police officers risk their lives to protect our communities and keep our streets safe. These officers are the thin blue line that stands between your family and the criminals that would do them harm. We are your neighbors, protecting your neighborhood. Hold the line. Support law enforcement. Stand with the Suffolk County PBA.
The following radio show is live, except for the announcement you're hearing right now.
Welcome back to Your Island Live with your host, Tom Civello, on 103.9 LI News Radio.
And once again, welcome back as we're moving right along on our Tuesday edition. Now, as announced, every other Tuesday we have with us the president of the Suffolk County PBA, Lou Civello. Out and about, representing his offices. And I've always said this, if you're representing our police and safety and security, you're representing all of us and how important that is. And the last time I spoke to Lou, he was at a special event, and we are going to talk about it as promised. But let's say hello. Lou Civello, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Tom, doing great. Great to be with you.
If you remember, 2 weeks ago, you were on the program, and you were in Washington, D.C. Again, pretty incredible, taking the time out to give us a call, come on our program. And unknown at the time, we knew you were at the joint session. I said, that's exciting. It's kind of neat that Congressman LaLota and other members of Congress recognize law enforcement, and you're symbolic of law enforcement, and to do the right thing legislatively and under public administration and so on. But we didn't know that Tuesday night was going to be one of the most interesting, if not significant, if not unique, joint session of Congress ever done by a president of the United States, considering all that all that happened there. Now, you were there firsthand. So the first thing I want to do is just get your impression of what you saw. The young man, the young boy who survived cancer, pretty incredible. That had to be chilling when you saw that. Of course, the high school students, the senior who got into West Point, and then the families of people that were murdered by illegals that are in this country right now, gang members and so on, all part of what law enforcement is now dealing with. You were able to witness all of that. But the general tenor of it, what was your impression? Lou Civello.
It was incredible, Tom. It was the room was just full of excitement, full of hope. I think the president did a resounding job addressing the room, just pointing out the direction of the country and, signaling his accomplishments. I mean, he has done so much in such a short period of time. It's like, how could it not have been an excellent speech? And it was. I mean, he really, I don't know if you were able to see it on TV, but if you looked up in the gallery, which is where I was sitting, it was a capacity crowd on its feet, full of energy. I felt like I was a part of American history being there, and it really was a surreal experience to be able to participate in each one of those instances that you described. The child with cancer, Stephanie Diller, just a resounding standing ovation. I couldn't get to my feet and clap quick enough. Unfortunately, it was only one side of the aisle downstairs in Congress that was standing for those events, and I think it was rather shameful. Who wouldn't stand for a child who overcame cancer? Who wouldn't stand for Stephanie Diller, the widow of a New York City police officer, Jonathan Diller, who was, brutally murdered in the line of duty? So that part of it was a bit disappointing that we didn't have a little more unity from both sides of the aisle. But I can tell you the president did an amazing job addressing Congress and really showcased where our country's going.
And again, I like the first-hand account because I think it's important for somebody that was there. Now, my understanding is they knew there'd be some protests. They didn't really be able to define it. At what point, while you were observing this, did you realize that, half the people in that room, and there's a lot of people, you have 535 members in the House and the Senate, that alone, and then, of course, you have their special guests and so on. At what point did you start to realize, what the heck is wrong here?
Right. There was some scuttlebutt that they would try to be disruptive, that they were going to try to disrupt the proceedings, disrupt the president, just juvenile, disrespectful, and you come off like petulant children. I was hoping that was not going to be the case. Unfortunately, I was wrong. and there were disruptive people among our congressional representatives. The one in particular that shot up, tried to shout the president down. Eventually, Speaker Johnson had to bring the gavel down and have him removed. And I can tell you the audience cheered when he was removed. Just completely disrespectful. I can tell you, Tom, I've been to many an event. I was invited to the State of the State by the governor. And, I obviously disagree with a great deal of what New York State Democrats do in Albany, right? But there were times during the governor's speech where I stood up and I applauded, right? I mean, it's just because you do. If the governor is saying something positive about the men and women in law enforcement and the job we do, I'm going to get up and applaud. And, again, it was just shameful that no one in that party could find the courage to do that. I'm sure some of them wanted to. I mean, who wouldn't want to get up and again stand for a child who was overcome cancer, who was being named a Secret Service agent? It's just shameful that we're so divided. And to have to bring these nonsense signs and to disrupt the proceedings and to try to shout down the President of the United States is disrespectful to the office. It does nothing to bring the country together. It really adds nothing to the conversation, in my opinion. You don't have to agree. You certainly don't have to applaud for the President. That's your right as an American, as a member of Congress. But what you do have to do is respect the office, and unfortunately that was not the case.
That's a common sense approach, what you just said. One of the things I noticed right away, he was wearing a purple tie. I'm talking about Donald Trump, and that's kind of symbolic of unity. And as you can tell us, he looked over at the Democratic side and he said that I would like to have everybody involved in what we're trying to accomplish right now. Then later on in the speech, he basically said, it doesn't matter what I or what I do, you're never going to go along with me. And that, to me, I think defines the moment in this country right now where we have that division. But I will say this. Again, if you just joined us, we have Lou Civello with us, the president of the Suffolk County PBA, is that the people being on it, or the general theme, tends to be support for the helping professions, the people, the first responders, our police officers, our firefighters. And I think that's a good thing. I think one of the reasons why you're symbolic on representing Suffolk County there is the first responders and how important they are to this administration. I would hope they would be important to every administration, Democrats and Republicans. That is my hope for America, that we never forget that. It doesn't matter you're D or R. I don't know if I could say that right now at this very minute, but I think that was highly represented. Did you get that feeling? Because I did see a picture of you with the speaker, which I thought was pretty cool. And maybe I'll start with that question. What was that like? I happen to like the guy from watching him on TV. He just looks like a matter-of-fact, common-sense guy. Doesn't seem like he goes up a notch or below a notch. He's at the same notch, but he makes a lot of sense. Your thoughts on Mike Johnson, then we'll get to the other part of the question.
He does. I do believe the speaker is a pragmatist. This is the second time I've had an opportunity to have a conversation with him, and I can tell you in both occasions you could tell that when you converse with him, he intently listens. He's not a guy that's just giving you lip service. He's not a guy that is there to just play politics. It's when you bring up a concern to him, when you tell him what's going on here in Long Island, some of the concerns we have with gangs and with law enforcement and public safety, he intently listens and responds. Great memory, because I did meet him, probably, I guess, it was a while back. And I can tell you it was a great opportunity to be able to express those things to one of the most influential people in the whole country and say, here's the issues we have in Suffolk County, here's what our police are facing. And to have that audience with him and that time with him was a wonderful opportunity, and one that was facilitated by Congressman LaLota. So I'd just like to say thank you to him. He has been an ardent supporter of law enforcement here in Suffolk County, just getting us resources, always looking out to see what we need. I can tell you we had members on that horrible day in Israel that were over in Israel for training on October 7th, and one of the first phone calls I got was from Congressman LaLota offering to intercede with the consulate to get our people out of there, our Suffolk County police officers that were there on that day. So it's just indicative of the type of person he is, of the type of leader he is. Again, not a guy that plays politics. I listened into his recent town hall. I thought he did an excellent job of addressing the concerns, not just of Republicans or Democrats, but of Long Islanders, getting back salt, those sorts of things. So it was an honor to be invited by him. It was an honor to speak to the Speaker of the House, and that was at a reception, Tom, actually before the speech. So I was invited to that private reception, and it was sort of surreal, as you're kind of walking around there. Newt Gingrich was there. Ben Shapiro, ran into him there. So it was the who's who of the Republican Party and of like I said, some of the most influential people in the country. And to be able to, just be in a room with them, converse with them, and share some of our concerns and experiences here in Suffolk County and Long Island was just an excellent opportunity.
Yeah, I waited 2 weeks for this conversation because I could just imagine what you were able to go through. Again, meeting the people that you had just mentioned, pretty incredible. Again, Mike Johnson, Speaker, he's got his work cut out from. I think he's down to a 2-vote majority right now. There'll be some special elections that are coming up. Nick LaLota was a guest on our show. I think last week we had him on, and he relayed a lot of the same information that you are right now, but you see it from a much different perspective. And the mere fact that you're able to talk to these individuals about some of the problems that we're having right now. Always following you on my program is DA Ray Tierney, and he sends over some of the indictments that he's been getting and so on. But Lou, it's always related to drugs. It's always related to the work that the Suffolk County Narcotics Section does, and how they work Suffolk County Police Narcotics Section, and how they work very closely with the DA's office. I'm telling you, and I put this out to our listeners, we've got some hero cops. And, a lot of people get mad when I use that word, but it's true. We have some hero cops. This is not your typical job of what they do. Our patrol division, incredible what they do on it. Any single call could result in a catastrophe. That's never known. And then our narcotics offices and what they're trying to do to stop the scourge of drugs in the streets, and then working with our DA. And who, again, he'll be on our show today at 1:05. But the support has to be there. By witnessing on the federal level, do you think that at least the motivation to support local police, particularly Suffolk County Police, is there?
Yes, most certainly. I think we're finding a much more willing federal government to work with local law enforcement now, to work with ICE, to work with the FBI. I can tell you the gang issue is a major one here in Suffolk County, and if you take a look, I think it was in yesterday's New York Post, you will see an article, an interview that the New York Post did with our great DA, Ray Tierney. I'm sure he will tell your audience all about it when he comes on, but I would suggest that everyone in your audience take a look at the Post and read that article, because he does an excellent job talking about Tren de Aragua, talking about MS-13, the ultra-violence that they brought here to our county, and how we really need a federal partnership in order to address this. What the Trump administration is doing right now is excellent. They are making sure that this Tren de Aragua gang, this ultra-violent gang, does not grow roots, cancerous roots, the way MS-13 did here in Suffolk County, where we had children being chopped up with machetes, where we had a 2-year-old executed. President Trump is going to make sure that we don't get that far, that we get these people, we put them in handcuffs, and we ship them out of our country. That's not something we can do as Suffolk County police officers. We can't stick somebody on a plane and send them back to El Salvador. We need federal partners in order to do that. We need real federal resources, and I think that's what we're starting to see with the Trump administration, a real partnership between local law enforcement and federal law enforcement, and that's the only way we keep our county safe, Tom, is to have that partnership.
Right. And I think the public education that you folks are involved in, I hear it on this program where we get callers where people are becoming more aware of some of the challenges that are out there between the good folks, which is everybody that listens to this program, and our police and our first responders, and then the people that make laws and that administrate public policy and so on, that sometimes we're at a little bit of a loss. But you folks are always out there, and you're doing the job. Going back to Albany and going back to New York State, the fight is still there. I was reading a little bit about the deadly driving bill that didn't pass last year, and now there's a new do that. And the fact that it has certainly the support of the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office. Ray Tierney takes that stuff up, but so does the Suffolk County PDA, and so does you as the president have had at least efforts to try to make people aware of what the deadly driving bill is all about. Again, how could you vote against that? If you're a member of the Assembly and the Senate, how do you vote against that, Lou?
I don't know. It's dizzying. It just shows you that they take a job to have a job, not to do a job. If you're in elected office, your duty is to protect the public. We just almost had an officer killed, Officer Brendan Gallagher, in one of these deadly driving incidents where you had, reckless driver, drunk, drugs, you name it, trying to get the officer to pull him over. So we need stiffer laws in terms of these people terrorizing our streets, this street racing where you see them bobbing and weaving in and out of traffic on the LIE at 100 miles an hour. It needs to come to an end. They're putting our families' lives at danger. They're putting our police officers in danger, and we need to have the tools as police officers to hold these people accountable. We need to be able to crush the cars. We need to be able to have real consequences where they do real jail time for taking these actions. So it's something that we, like the DA, are very, very supportive of to get those things passed on the state level, and we're going to be working. And you know us, Tom, we're politically involved, so we will take people to task, especially the representatives here in Suffolk County, if they're not doing their jobs. It's state, federal. We get involved in everything. And I will tell you, just going back to the president's address to Congress. So when the event ended, it was kind of surreal. Tom, where when you go in, you have to check your phone. You're not allowed to. Right. They have tight security, obviously, right? The president of the United States is speaking here, so you can't take any electronic devices in. And then you sort of go through airport-style security, where you're putting your arms up and the thing's spinning around you the same way you would over at JFK or MacArthur Airport. And then when the event ends, they let the president and the cabinet leave first, and they sort of hold everybody back to give them a chance to vacate. So after that's all done, I go to leave, and the Capitol Police have everything sort of blocked, so it's hard to find your way out. I eventually, one of the Capitol Police officers, my brothers, I ask him where to go, and he says, just check out an elevator. I get in the elevator, go down to the first floor, and as I'm trying to exit, and it's late at night because Trump spoke for some time, and I kind of glance into an office, and I see, and there's our First Lady. And I'm like, oh my God, there's the First Lady. So I had someone call me and ask where I was, and just as that happens, Melania walks out, and she's standing maybe 5 feet from me, and I'm like, quite honestly, the Capitol's a big place. I'm like, I don't know where I am, but the First Lady's here, so she kind of smiles, and then right behind her, out walks President Trump.
Oh my God! That's amazing! Amazing story.
It was incredible. Yeah, absolutely incredible. And then I'm thinking, like, do they just kind of let you walk around down here, or am I in the wrong? Am I going to get tackled by Secret Service here?
I love that story.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. And then behind him, Elon Musk comes out. So they weren't there very long. I kind of gave a wave and I snapped a photo. But it was really kind of cool just to be have that experience with the people that are running the country, and they're doing a great job of it. So very proud to be there.
Only in America can that happen. I mean, that's amazing. I'm loving this story. I'm saying only in America can that happen. Again, I think. See, I'm optimistic about the future. I'm optimistic about some good things happening. I'm a little concerned about Albany. I'm just watching the session. We got about a minute or so left. What do you hear? I know you have folks up in Albany watching legislation and watching how things are going. I know we have to pass a budget by April 1st. But what do you hear in terms of legislation that just helps our men and women on the streets?
We're pushing the usual, Tom. We want to see some changes to bail reform. We want to see some changes to some of the pension issues that we have here, that it is an obstacle to recruitment and retention for our newer police officers. So we're hoping to make some headway. One of the things that we also visited was the 50A issue, trying to get those unfounded, unsubstantiated complaints out of the record. So we were making some headway there. And the last thing is mental illness is where we're really, I don't know if you're aware or not, Tom, but Nassau County PD just lost another officer to suicide. Yeah. So we need to do more for our officers in terms of mental health. So there's a mental health bill that hopefully gets passed up there, which would assist us in assisting our members in terms of their mental health.
And I hope we can move in the right direction. Lou, what a pleasure, as always. We'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate everything.
Okay. So we just heard from Lou Civello. I mean, I love that story. Absolutely love the story that I guess you're walking around the Capitol, and then at some point you realize that, look over there. There's the First Lady, and then the president walks out, and Elon Musk walks out. Pretty incredible stuff when you think about it. A lot has to be done. A lot is going on right now, particularly as Lou was talking about. They have identified these gangs that came in during the Biden years that came across the border, that were here illegally, that were not vetted. You know the story. We spent all these years, the last 4 years, talking about what happened at the border, and the fact that we had an open border has producing an issue where Tom Homan and the border czar is now operating in just about half the states in the United States to remove these terrible, evil people that are here to make as much money they can in applying some illegal trade. So that's been a big part of it. Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we get back, let's talk to our DA, Ray Tierney. We'll be right back.